Why don't men talk to other men about responsibility in relationships instead of constantly telling women what they should do?
You're asking some tough ass questions.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Hope you're good, hope you're well. The other day, I asked you guys to ask Keith questions that you want to ask men because he is one man. And wow, did you guys go in? I was not expecting that many responses. Thank you very much for being open and real with your questions. I love that. And so yeah, I'm not going to stick around here much longer. Keith is going to come and sit right here and he's going to answer some of your questions. Keith, you ready? Let's go.
Hey guys, I'm Keith. I'm Adella's husband, and yeah, questions were mad. Let's do this.
Why do men claim superiority over women?
What? Why do men claim superiority over women? Damn. I don't know. I think, to be honest, it's part of all of the history. I think at some point, men, we just have to really stop and be like, yeah, we flopped. You have to be sensitive to the fact that we're in a time where we're shifting very heavily, what it seems like very heavily away from all of that, where we're encouraging women to be able to stand up and do things and have a voice. And also we still have to give our opinion, not basically on what they do, but we as humans, we like to give opinions. So you have to be very tactful and mindful of what we choose to speak on. Doesn't mean that we should claim like we're better. No, because we oppress other people to get there. Is that the current man's fault? No, but there is a responsibility to make sure everybody's voice is heard.
Is marriage really viewed by men as being locked up for the rest of your life?
I hope not. I mean, well, lock me away, throw away the key. I don't know. I don't want to speak for all men. Do you get what I'm saying? I think it's sad that that's even a notion that's even out there. So the answer I would say is some men, and that I use some as not a 50-50. I use some as a minority, just because I don't know the full. I don't have the full picture. So I would say, yeah, some men do probably feel like that. I don't. I know guys who are good friends of mine, who aren't good friends of mine, people I know through acquaintances, people who are acquaintances, who view marriage as like, yeah, it's freeing. I personally, my personal story with marriage is I feel more free to do things that I want in marriage than I was when I was single. Does that make sense?
Did you have any form of sexual experience before marriage? And if yes, how did it affect your sexual expectations in marriage? / how did it affect sex in marriage?
Me, pure virgin.
Or since I was born to this earth, I haven't slept with any woman before. I am purely virgin.
So no, I never, I never experienced anything outside of marriage. But that in itself has its own effects on sex in marriage. So that's a conversation for another day. Subscribe.
How would you feel if you were dating a masculine woman?
Define masculine. I think if we're going back society, then you might say someone who's like stocky, loud, direct, if that's what you're defining as masculine. I don't think I would feel any type of way, because I think it's more of am I, given my characteristics, best suited to that person, if that makes sense. If I was somebody who was very short in terms of ideas that I needed to have, but in terms of actually asking and verbalizing it to somebody else, then my partner who was, let's say, quote unquote masculine in the form of she's quite direct when she speaks, might be your best match for me, because I can learn how to be direct from her, but then also I might be able to show her how to be to have a softer approach to certain things. So I think you can't again have a catch-all statement which applies to everybody. I think a lot of this comes from how are you both working together to basically grow, and you have to be able to complement each other and not look at it as combating each other.
What are your opinions on toxic masculinity or masculinity in general?
What are my opinions on toxic masculinity or masculinity in general?
Toxic masculinity involves cultural pressures for men to behave in a certain way. Toxic masculinity refers to the notion that some people's ideas of quote-unquote manliness perpetrates domination, homophobia and aggression.
Yikes. What do I think of toxic masculinity? By that definition, yeah, I guess that's wrong. We're not necessarily here to be dominating other people. No, I think just generally as humans, we shouldn't do that, nor should we as men be doing that to other men or women. And obviously all the other things like bias against people who may subscribe to a different worldview or life choice than you. Obviously, we shouldn't be alienating or coming down on them like a ton of bricks just because they disagree with the way that we want to live life. Masculinity to me is going to look different to masculinity to you. And that's just because you're defining what you think it is and I'm defining what I think it is. So when we both bring our definitions, they're going to shift. And this is why you get people who completely agree with Derek Jackson, and you have people who completely agree with Kevin Samuels. You have people who completely agree with Charlemagne the God, and then you have people who completely agree with like DJ Envy. But by each one of those four people are defining their own, and then you have women who come in and say, well, men should be doing this, and men should be masculine in this way. But then if we all have opposing views and there is no base, who's to say who's right and wrong? So then for me, spoiler alert, I'm a Christian. Masculinity to me is just the way that I treat people based on how the Bible has told me to treat people. So if I'm to act humbly, to put others before myself, but also to make wise decisions and apply that to my home, to my work, and sometimes I have to make hard decisions, then that's what masculinity is to me.
Why don't men talk to other men about responsibility in relationships instead of constantly telling women what they should do?
For me, I have a group of guys who I speak to about every aspect of my life. So marriage, family, which is like parents, brothers, money. They know exactly how much I earn, where we spend our money, and vice versa for me, for them as well. So yeah, I would say there are guys out there that do speak about other things rather than telling women what to do. I don't know.
Around what age would you say that men actually start to know what they want in terms of a life partner?
I can't say age, I'd maybe say life stage. And to be honest, I can't even say that because people go through different life stages. I don't think there's a particular age, if I'm honest with you. I just think once there's an acceptance of a level of responsibility they have for themselves and for somebody else, then that's when all of that comes into play.
Do black men talk about protecting black women in their circles?
Yes. The reason that question threw me off a little bit is because obviously my wife is black. A few of my friends' wives are black. And it's not necessarily that we say we have to protect black women, but given the sphere that we grew up in, which is predominantly black, it's more protect women. So by way of that, we do talk about how we can, quote unquote, provide, or how can we make best decisions for the partners that we have and stuff like that. But yes, also in terms of like a societal view, we do have conversations about how we can help the marginalized.
Do you think you can cheat on someone that you love?
Yeah. Yeah. I would not.
Can you expand on that? So I think they're asking, I guess, yeah, if you cheat on someone doesn't mean you don't love them.
If you cheat on somebody, it doesn't necessarily mean you don't love them. It just means that you cheated. Obviously, you shouldn't have. You shouldn't have cheated. But yeah, it doesn't mean that you don't love them. There's so many nuances as to why somebody might cheat. And I know there's arguments to be like, well, a man only cheats because a woman only cheats because whose fault is it? Ultimately, it comes down to the person that cheated.
Where is my husband?
ChristianMingle.com.
Why do you think so many men choose hookups as opposed to commitment?
Intentionality, I would say. I think from what I've learned in marriage and dating and stuff is that women like intentionality. So if somebody doesn't want to be intentional with you, then yeah, they're gonna choose other things to do, if that makes sense. It shouldn't be the case, but unfortunately, that's the way it is, which is bad.
Is sex in any way artistic to you, or is it just about the pleasure?
Artistic.
Artistic.
Yes. Do you mean intimate? If so, then yes. It's the way that my wife and I, grow in intimacy. So yeah, I'm not sure you mean by artistic, but if you mean artistic as an intimacy, then yeah, also feels good.
If a girl you're making out with tells you to stop, like in the middle of the action, how would you feel about it?
You just gotta stop. How I would feel about it. I think I would ask why you said stop, not in terms of like, oh, why'd you make me stop, but more of like, there's a reason why you said it, right? So if it's feeling uncomfortable, then we have to get to the bottom of that so that necessarily doesn't happen again. But yeah, if someone says stop, then stop.
Do you think men like pervy women and feminine women?
Yeah, men like curvy women, men like feminine women, but there are also men who don't like women who are curvy, and also men who don't like, well, by your definition of feminine, whatever that is, they like the opposite of that. So, yeah.
How has toxic masculinity affected you?
I think in a society where it's like guys need to provide, have money, show off, and all of that. Well, I'd say show off like that. Show off, and all of that stuff. Like, oh, you have to have a car by this side because no girl's gonna. All of that stuff. I honestly didn't really pay any mind. I don't know why or what led me to have this type of thinking. I have friends who I talk to about stuff regularly, so obviously I have sounding boards that can just tell me where I'm like, I might be going off on the edge and stuff, but I don't think it has in that way affected me.
According to Kevin Samuels, men have options and it's not called cheating, and women are supposed to just deal with the men playing their options as long as it doesn't bring any problems to the home. How do you feel about that? Basically, I'll shorten the question. How do you feel about that? And are women just supposed to disregard that because they have a man paying their bills? Just wondering about your thoughts.
This is why I don't watch Kevin Samuels. Yeah, I totally disagree. Options. I understand the sentiment in which he's saying, and I understand what he's getting at. It doesn't mean that is the correct thing. And you also have to. It all comes down to what you're basing your standard off. Like, if you base it off the same things Kevin Samuels says, then yeah, that's going to make sense to you. But for me, I'm a Christian, so I look at what the Bible says about not even husbands, just Christians, like the way we're supposed to live and act, and what it says in there doesn't line up with what Kevin Samuels was saying, so I disregard what he's saying, and you should too.
What was a non-negotiable that you were looking for in a wife that you found in me, not including faith?
Someone I can actually just be a friend with. I think friendship is so underrated in relationships. I think people are so focused on what can this person do for me, what can that person do for me, rather than trying to build like an authentic friendship with the person that they're trying to be with for the rest of their life. So I don't know if you guys even know, like for me, I was very intentional with being Adella's friend. So I wasn't trying to get anything like I wasn't trying to give any like mixed signals or anything like that. I wanted to get to know her on her own, how she was in front of her friends, my friends, and just through conversation. I think that was a non-negotiable. Like, I don't want to spend the rest of my life with somebody who I'm not friends with.
Do men find it unattractive if a woman has naturally saggy boobs and stretch marks?
They shouldn't. It's part of life.
Do you feel the pressure to be a breadwinner?
Do I feel the pressure to be a breadwinner? Yes. But not in the way that you would suspect. I don't feel pressured by Adella. I don't feel pressured by society, as in like, oh, you're a bum if you're not earning this much, or if you're not earning more than your wife or partner. I feel it more because I know the plan and the direction I have for myself, my wife, and our family, or our future family. So, yes, but not in the way that the world would say.
Is there a good way for the husband to be the leader of the marriage / household biblically without it being oppressive to the wife?
Yes. The only way you find that out is through having conversations. And though we say biblically, you also have to make sure you understand that it's not the husband's place to tell the wife how to, as the Bible describes, submit. That is between her and God. The only thing you're supposed to do as a husband is what God tells you to do as a husband, is to lay your life down for the church, who is your wife. And if anything comes from that, it comes through conversation. So yeah.
Why do you think a man is more likely to leave the relationship after being cheated on versus a woman?
Pride, I'd say. Pride, I guess. I don't, and though this is a harsh reality, there are more women than there are men. So I can just imagine the mindset is, well, there's plenty more fish in the sea. Yeah. It doesn't say yes that the man should definitely leave if somebody cheats. It's more of figuring out why the person cheated first and see where you can build upon there. And that goes for men and women. But yeah, I would just say it's pride and just being hurt. Like, I can imagine being cheated on hurts, whether you're a man or a woman. And I would say that society probably find it more acceptable for men to cheat. So that's probably where the pride comes from. So it's almost an excuse.
So do you believe it hurts men more when their partner cheats on them? If yes, why?
No, I don't believe it hurts men more when their partner cheats. I also think that in a society that tells men not to show emotion or not to cry or just to get over it, when a man does express his feelings over being cheated, it's probably more of a shock because you're not used to seeing men share their emotions.
What is the most important love language to men out of the 5 love languages, and why?
The most important love language to men is the one that is the most important to the man in your life.
Since men claim to be visual beings, how would you react to being told that your potential girlfriend might have an illness or disorder that alters her outward appearance, e.g. vitiligo, eczema, psoriasis, etc.? Would it put you off and make you no longer pursue her because you may not like the way she might look?
Damn. Damn. It shouldn't matter. And I also think it depends on the stage you are in your relationship. Like, for example, if I had just met Adella and then she told me like, oh, I don't know, 2 weeks into us getting to know each other that she might have this and might have that, I have to assess, okay, well, what are my intentions with Adella? And based on that, I'll make my decision. If I was like with same scenario, if I was with Adella, sorry, I am with Adella, but when we were dating and I was just about to propose, and then she told me that like she was gonna have like a thing that would change her appearance. Again, I have to ask myself, what is my intention? Where am I at right now with her? And what do I want to do about that and us moving forward? At that stage, I'm more likely to be like, well, no, I've got to know who she is more so than what she looks like. So, yeah.
Why is there this assumption that men have a burning sexual appetite that his wife must fulfill or else he's going to cheat? Would you say that a man's sexual desires are really that strong?
I think it's just, again, that's a society thing. I think like honestly, watch a movie, watch a TV show, watch anything. You see men and boys painted as always chasing after girls. It's always in music videos. It's like from a society that has historically been led by men in terms of, well, I would say they mask it as they've led it in terms of like cultural moments and stuff. That's unfortunately the picture that's been painted, when in reality there are men who have lower sex drives than women. There are women who have just as equal amounts of sexual appetite as men, and because it's not spoken about, we just think that it's weighted on the men when it's not. In reality, we're all humans and we all have a sex drive.
What do men need from their significant other, emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually, financially, ethically? Just what are the basic needs of a man that only, capital letters, his significant other can provide that will keep him solely engaged to her? What do men want, Keith?
Men want what is the outcome of meaningful, sometimes tough, sometimes real, sometimes superficial, sometimes fleeting, sometimes intentional conversations with their significant other. You have to have the conversations to understand what your man wants, because if I was to say all men want is physical touch, you might go out with somebody who you might try to apply that to, and they're like, well, no, all I need from you, well, at this time anyway, is emotional support. So I think you need to ask the questions, and we shouldn't have a taboo view of having tough conversations.
And that is a wrap. Go easy on him, yeah? Guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. I hope you enjoyed Keith answering those questions. Thanks for taking the time to answer them. This might be a 2-part thing, right?
Yeah.
All right.
It might be. But you know where to go for that. Link in the description.
All right, guys. Let us know, as always, what you think of Keith's answers down below. Do you want to reply to some of them?
Yeah, I might. Yeah. I'll hop in the comments.
He'll hop in the comments when it goes live, and he will reply to some of them. But yeah, hope you enjoyed that, guys, and see you in the next one. Bye. Oh, you have to do it.